Right, today we're looking at Adcock Ingram holdings. Right, let's take a look at what is price at the moment. The price today, and today is the 18th of March. Today is the 18th of March 2022. The price is 52 Rand 5 cents. And let's take a look at how I would analyze this. So here is the chart for Adcock Ingram. This is on TradeView, and this is the maximum view. This is not daily. This is each candle works as or represents a week in the market. So let's take a look at the last few moves in the market. So we can see a couple of green bars here. However, it's not very decisive. And what I have here, and this is what I always use, is a 9-period EMA, which is an exponential moving average. This gives a bit more weight to the last few periods versus the previous ones. That is the yellow line that I have over here. Then I use a 21-period simple moving average, which is just an average of the last 21 periods. And this gives me a slower indicator. And what I'm looking for is crossovers between the 9 EMA and the 21 MA. So you can see that price crossed over here on the 30th of August last year, and it rallied up, and then it came back down and crossed beneath it, and then rallied up. Now, what I also use is a 200 MA, which is this big thick red line over here, and you can see that it's been steadily declining. So what these are, they are lagging indicators. So that means they work according to past price movements. These are not leading indicators, these are lagging. Leading indicators, you would use a stochastic or RSI or something like that. I don't actually use it. I do use it now and then, but what it does is it shows an oscillator which shows whether something is typically overbought or undersold. Alright, it is a handy indicator to use, however, it's not my preferred thing. What I like to use is these 3 lagging indicators to see when does price cross over, and most importantly, where is price in relation to these lines. Now currently price is above these 2, which is a very, very good indicator that price is above average, right? That shows that there's confidence in this stock at the moment. We can take a look at some of the volumes here at the bottom. So the latest volume is 255,000, and you can see there was some considerably more volume here a bit earlier. But now what is very important is that these indicators here, these lagging indicators, are rising up to the 200 MA. Now this is a critical point in the history of this chart. Now what I would typically do is, because I'm a I'll look for the swings in price, because I want to find support. I like to just do a little exercise of the last few swings. Now what I use is a trend line analysis. So I'm going to start from over here, and on here you've got on TradeView you have a shortcut where you can just say Alt T, and what I do is I like to look for the lows and highs and just get a sense of what the price has been doing, and I just follow the highs and lows like this. And what it does is it sort of cuts out all the noise, because as you can see the price moves really drastically around these points. What this serves to do is just give you a sort of a clearer understanding. Here you can see that it sold off very, very viciously. It consolidated, which obviously gave some people some confidence, and then consolidated back again, and then it rallied again higher, and there we go. But then there was a huge sell-off again, so it's obviously testing this level down here again. Now what I'm doing is not an exact science, it's just to sort of give me a bit of a clearer understanding of how price has been moving, where it's sort of swung. Now you can see that your highs are getting a little bit higher and your lows are also getting a bit higher. Now that is a very good sign that price is starting to find some type of trend, and I'm not going to do the last one because I don't know where it's going to go. So now the next exercise to do is to kind of see, is there a positive correlation between the highs and the lows of these swings? Now, first of all, let's take a look. Because price is starting to average up, we want to find support. So I would take this first point here and create a trend line that runs and connects, for the most part, the lows, and just sort of extend it out like this. Alright, because that gives me an idea of where psychologically people want to start buying again. If price had to move back down here, then obviously investors are going to want to see, does it close below this point here, or does it close above it? So in other words, does it rebound off this? In other words, find support. So this is a very, very strong psychological line here. Now I suppose if one had to just make this a little bit more accurate or a little bit prettier, I know it doesn't exactly connect onto that, so some of your more OCD people will say, it doesn't connect there, but this is just to create a psychological barrier of support. Now support, if you don't know what it means where price kind of reaches its lowest point and then rebounds typically. Now that is now our support line. Let's take a look at points of high. So what I like to do is, I can see here that the price sort of averaged here and then dropped off quite a bit here. So I would like to just let's take this one over here, and I'm going to Alt T and just draw a line through the tops here. Yeah, look at that. There's a shape developing here, by the way. And let's just connect it down to the bottom here. So like I said, this is not an exact science, but, and now if we want to just make this look really pretty, we connect them there, and we have this type of little shark's head shape here. I don't know if that makes sense if there's such a shape, but it looks kind of like a shark's head, and here's your teeth. But now what is really interesting is that the price seems to be edging up and actually met at the top of this same line here, which kind of positively correlates this psychological line here. Now here's the thing about investor psychology. Investor psychology is a real thing. It is a price or price level where investors and traders all see the same thing and all watch to see what does the market do at this point. So what I would be looking at is, does it break above this line, or does it rebound and go back down? And once it has gone down, does it rebound off this point, or does it break beyond here? Now if it had to break beneath here, that would be a sign that price is going to drop off quite drastically. So what I like to do is, I like to just take a little call out box, put it here, and I'm going to just type here, if price closes below this point, price bad. I'm just going to say bad. Alright, that means that this psychological level has been broken, and then most likely traders, particularly investors not so much, but traders are going to be selling off this asset, and that means not a good thing for price. However, if price happens to continue along these average lines and meet here, this would be a critical point to see, are investors and traders going to have the confidence to buy this breakout? And what happens is, you have now thousands, or let's say not even thousands, many hundreds of thousands of traders and investors that all see the same thing. And if all of them have the confidence, because of a price breaking and closing above this line, they're all going to jump on this and they're going to buy it up. And guess what? The price is going to shoot out. Right. So this is going to be a critical point. Now what I like to do, I like to just let's just find my rectangle shape. Aha, there's my rectangle shape. Now I'm going to just put a little rectangle shape over here, and that just is an indicator if price happens to break into here and close. Now that's the important thing, it must actually close there. That means you got to wait basically for me a whole week to see, does price close there? If it happens to close in there, that is a very, very strong indicator to buy this, because most likely everyone else is going to do the same thing and buy it as well, which means price is going to go up. If, however, even if it breaks this line, but then comes back down and closes below there, that is not a very good strong indicator. That shows a little bit of indecision about this psychological line, and it might happen that this price then will drop back down to here, and then we watch to see what happens over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my trend line. Here's my last swing. Now notice this was the last low, and price is up here, so there's a good chance that it's going to move up to there. And this is all probabilities, by the way, so that none of this is obviously financial advice. None of this is saying to buy this stock. I don't know what it's going to do, and no one knows. Even Warren Buffett doesn't know what is going to happen with this thing. All you can do is set yourself up for if price moves in your favor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Alt T, and I'm going to draw a line, and I'm expecting that it's going to come up to here. Now what I'm going to do is, because this is in the future, I'm going to make this a dashed line, so I can see that this has not happened yet. Well, it's clear to see, but yeah, it just looks interesting. So let's take a little call out, and I'm going to put it over here. And this is just to remind myself when I come back to look at this asset of what to look out for, because when you're looking at lots of different assets, you tend to maybe forget, what were you thinking? And obviously your thoughts should come to the same thing every time, but it's not necessarily so. Sometimes you analyze a chart, and when you come back and you look at it again, you say, whoa, that looks a bit different, or suddenly your train of thought is a bit different. So it's very good to make these little annotations and see what were you thinking at the time. Do you still agree with what you were thinking at that time, or has your thought changed? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say check to see if price closes above resistance line. I never know if resistance is spelled with an E or an A, but I think it's an A. All right. So now this you would now term, like I said, a resistance line, because we've had multiple times that price has tested this sort of imaginary line. It's not a real line, obviously. It's an imaginary psychological line. It's tested that price and rebounded away from it. So it said, no, this is not supposed to be above this level. And you can see that it kind of dropped each time here and then dropped a lot. So in other words, investors and traders, or let's say traders more, saw it tested, nope, it tested, no, it tested, no, let's get out, and they sold off. Do you see how investor psychology works? And then when it got down to this level, traders obviously thought, okay, it's just below here and it hasn't quite reached here, let's buy back. And they bought back, and it didn't break anywhere near those highs, which obviously psychologically says, wait a minute, let's get out of here, and boom, it just sold off. But now obviously fundamentally, this is here, as you can see the date, the 25th of November 2019. So from there, now this is before COVID, by the way, it already started trading down. So this was, I would say, not particularly COVID related. However, once COVID sort of started becoming a thing, then it seriously dropped off. Look at that. And this obviously happened for a huge amount of stocks. Now, obviously, investors will know at this price over here, this price level here, Adcock Ingram is grossly undervalued for what it has been before. Obviously, over here, you can see this is what the price was before. So they realize that price is currently at a discount. However, your traders are going to be trying to take profit off of this situation, and that causes this volatility over here. But it seems that from this point over here, this is now midway last year, so this would be probably where they, the quarter has ended and they've announced some results, and obviously the results will show that things have gotten better since the crash of COVID, and so buyers have started to take over the market. Now, I'm hoping that buyers are going to say, yes, let's break through this level and cause a breakout. I, however, kind of want to be inclined to think that we're going to... I took the wrong thing. Well, I've got this forecaster here. Let's actually use it. I kind of want to think it's going to go back and test one more time. That's my personal opinion. And then what I'm thinking is going to happen is we're going to then have our price breakout over here. Let go. So that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see. But now, like I say, these are on very slow time intervals. These are week by week. So you can see, when do I think it's going to be there? October this year. When do I think the breakout might happen? May next year. So yeah, these are very, very long time scales. And I have actually invested here. So just full disclosure, I'm not saying that you should, but I won't be too worried if price drops down to here. I will remain invested because I feel that we are looking at a breakout at this stage. I think this is a good company. It's been around for a long time, and it seems that things are moving in a positive direction if you take a look at Yahoo Finance. Just to give you an idea as well, we have such a thing as MoneyWeb. Now, I am a subscriber to MoneyWeb. MoneyWeb is a very, very good website. It's to do with everything JSE, and there's so many articles. Now this is just on today's stuff, and what we can do is you can even look up your company that you want to check. So let's say Adcock, Ingram, and there we go, it comes up, and you'll find all of the major information over here as well. Here are your latest price, obviously delayed, and you can find your PE ratio, which is pretty good. It's below 15, which is your sort of threshold of where you would say, okay, things might be a little bit overpriced. Let's take a look at your price nav. That's actually not too bad as well. Typically below 1 is also pretty good. You can take a look at your dividend yield, which is pretty good, and you can take a look at the returns over the certain periods. But most importantly, what's really good for MoneyWeb is that you have the latest articles that have any type of relationship to this company. You can also see your the company's competitors. Here they are over here, and you can see what their moves are. These are all updated live, and you could click on an article and you could read it. You can find out about it. Then there's some more information here. There's your income statement, your profit margin, which is really nice. 11% is really not bad. Then you've got your balance sheet and your other information, and then you've got your SENS. Now, SENS, if you didn't know, is Stock Exchange News Service. All right, so that tells you anything that they by law have to disclose as a company. You will find over here. So if you had to click on any of these, you'll find the latest information. You can say it shows your dealings in securities. Usually that is now people that work for the company, and they either buy or sell stocks, and that's also a good indication because if you have corporate officials like executives or so on buying a whole bunch of their stock, that shows confidence in their own company. However, one has to be wary. Do they start selling shares? Then that's it might be an indication that they are not that confident and they want to get out. However, don't just assume that selling shares by corporates is a bad sign. It might be that they've been offered preferential shares or offered shares in the company as incentives and as a type of bonus. And what they typically do is then liquidate it and take the cash, and go buy a Ferrari or whatever. So don't be too worried about if a CEO decides to sell a bunch of shares. You need to look a bit closer into it. Why are they selling these shares? So anyway, so this is a little summary of how I analyzed Adcock Ingram and the possible opportunities here. I think that we're going to have a little price rise up to this level. It's going to be very interesting to see if it closes above into this little gold box. If it closes into that gold box, I'm going to be buying, because most likely what usually happens is the price would go up, come back and test this level as a support. If it finds support here, guess what? Boom, it's going to jump. So that's typically what happens. That's not to say that will happen. No one knows what is going to happen, but that is my own personal analysis for myself, and I hope that this has given a lot of information on how you would go about analyzing a company, and gives some insight into how I analyze a company and how I'm going to be analyzing other companies in the future as well. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be adding videos on a regular basis. This is one of the first videos that I made, so you're not going to find a lot right now, but support the channel please, and yeah, give it a like and a subscribe. This would be great. Thanks very much.